Hello everyone and welcome to yet another Friday Coding and Chill. I'm Johnny, I code things and sometimes I figure things out before I start coding them, and I'm live streaming some of that so we can learn together. And you can see someone that has had a bit of experience in the web engineering world, especially stumble around, research and figure out new things, be delighted when things just work, and be pleasantly puzzled, challenged when they don't, because if you like problem solving, this is the field for you. And we're coming to you live from toasty Barcelona. I hear my friends back in the UK as well have been having quite a lot of troubles with the heat. It is easier here where everywhere there is AC and you can get shade from palm trees and not from like Canary Wharf skyscrapers, but I feel everybody. Today we are gonna be talking about Lottie, which is an animation tool by Airbnb. You can create your own fancy animations in After Effects, which is a professional program by Adobe and is used for like video production and that sort of thing. And export the output from After Effects and use it with Lottie to render it on your website or your iOS app or whatever else. It's been quite fun. It's how many companies and many portfolio websites are doing that trick where people are like slightly moving when there is a spaceship flying around, when they're doing that sort of thing, when they're doing handwriting. It's great for some subtle animations or some delight animations, so have confetti fly out. They are quite nice if you don't overuse them. We've done some work in animations in the previous weeks as well, which were meant to be for more reusable interactions, I suppose, more plain interactions that can still delight users, but it's fine if you have them on every like button, for example. More simple ones where we're moving some web elements around, that sort of thing. I guess I do have the site open so you can see how we did this flying animation where we're animating all of these cards, in which those look quite nice. But with Lottie, you can do stuff like this on the right, where you have a few of the fancy kind of flat, kind of abstract characters that are trending nowadays. And that would be extremely hard to do by using an animation library like Motion One or any animation library, I'd say. That's quite a lot of work. You need to find all the elements that you want to animate. With SVGs, everything is possible, and I guess that's maybe what Lottie is doing behind the scenes. But all of these animations are kinda easy to do in After Effects if you know what you're doing. I do not. I don't even use After Effects anymore. I've switched to Final Cut and Motion. I'm going all in the Apple system. So good luck with me with that login. But that's by the by. There is also this website, Lottie Files, and I'm sure many more, which does offer quite a few free After Effects outputs that you can use with Lottie, and you can use them to delight your users, even though you may not have the time to create After Effects animations on your own. You don't have the time to start following all those tutorials that I used to follow back in the day when I wanted to do more like video editing and cinematography and those cool things. Hello in the chat, Cookify Media and Adriana Fazzi. Hello to both and everyone else. We're doing this because it was suggested in the comments. So suggest in the comments what you'd like to see next, and we'll likely do it. Quite a few things were suggested, of course, but I will be doing the one, not necessarily the one that I find more interesting, but the one that I find interesting. The one that I find interesting to many other people, so the more comments saying the same thing, the more likely I am to do it, and the one that I feel I'm kind of prepared to do. So I do a bit of research for these. I have used Lottie before, mostly with React Native, so I am sure that I will stumble, but I won't be stumbling too much, hopefully, because maybe no one wants to see me stumble for like 2 hours, maybe for like 10 minutes, that's enough. But speaking of which, do people want to see me ramble? Maybe not. So we can get going. So we have Lottie, which is the animation library that uses the After Effects outputs that are JSON files, JSON objects. I'm thinking now with myself, is it JavaScript object notation object. I think that's correct. I think it's not an ATM machine type of mistake I did there. And we'll download a few things here. We'll first try to put into our site something like this. The classic, put this on your portfolio website to attract attention. We have the cute cats in Techie Cat. We'll maybe replacing these for a while, but it would be fun, I guess, to even make those kind of slide around a little bit. But we won't. We'll just download something from here, and maybe if you are good with After Effects, let me know, and maybe I can give you, you can give me a quote, and I can pay you to do it for me, and we add it to the site, and everybody wins. Anyway, the second thing we do, we've been kind of not really struggling, but I've been trying to do a nice starring animation here. And I think that's workable. You can see the star flashing when you favorite, when you star one of the ideas, when you like one of those. I think it's nice. I will try to find a specific star animation from here. I think I liked this one before. And see if we can get it stuck in frame 1. And then when the user clicks the button to start the card, then we play the animation to the end. Disappears in the end, which I'm not sure if that should be correct, or that's what's actually going to happen. But of course, we also want to start the ideas that are already started with this, like on the last frame, I suppose. So I think that'd be interesting to figure out and to do. We'll see. That's about it for the plan for the day. Again, let me know in the chat. I do put in a focus timer, so I can mostly focus on the code, but I'm always up for chatting, and there will be dedicated breaks after 25 minutes, so I can catch up with everyone. All right, so as a refresher, we do have this website where we're doing most of these experiments. I think I'll have like a demo section at some point somewhere. But it is running on localhost here on the right. This is my editor, and this is my fancy hipster terminal. I don't know if I'll switch back to like a iTerm or something, but we'll see. The first step, as always, is to install the libraries. And I'd say, looking around for this, there was like a web version here that it will tell us what the library is called. You can also download it from like the CAS, but from a CDN, sorry, but that's not what we're going to be doing today. Adrian in the chat says that there is an editor where you can customize your Lotties for you. So I guess you can make the heads tilt on your own if you like personalize them a bit as well. But the editor may not be as good. Yeah, I would suggest, so I have no experience in this, so I would like to not comment, but unfortunately I like talking about things. So I would say I can't imagine, like After Effects, this is what Kurtzkit's Act? In a nutshell, that huge YouTube channel that I really love is using, and they're doing some incredible animations there, and they are customizing After Effects heavily to make that workable. So having an editor to customize Lottie that's supposed to kind of recreate After Effects that actually has all those plugins that these guys are using to make their animations, I think that's a tough job. I think that should be like a full-time job for team, for a big team even. In any case, let's see what happens if we npm install this. So let's go to the hipster terminal and install Lottie web. And then it's like, let's see how it works. Here they're just embedding the script, which we won't be doing, but we will be importing the Lottie object, which I can only assume we get by installing this. And we'll try to load an animation that we downloaded from here. So let's find one. Let's find, do they have any cute cat animations? No, immediately cancel the website, like domestic cat violence. That's not the way to go. Neon cat inspired, that's quite cool. I've never seen such a happy cat without food. Sleepy cats, I've seen tons of those. This is nice and has like the purple colors that I like, so maybe we can go with that one. That'd be an amazing loading animation as well. I love cats. Nice. We can be friends. And, oh, interestingly, I wonder, is this the famous editor that may be good, may not be good? So I was thinking that we would be downloading some JSON and then we'd put it in a project in like the public directory or something. But this is available here, like on the web. Is it like a faux pas to link to this directly? Maybe. I'll have a look on that one at some point. But for now, I guess if I hit this, get the JSON that I can download. And then we can hunt down, not in the documents, code. Take cat. Static. Would yarn be too confusing? Because of the package manager, maybe. All right, it is JSON. Amazing. So we have this file. We have this thing. We can. Wow. Actually, this may be. Well, I'm not sure how you're supposed to work with this. I don't know how you would be making those vectors in firsthand. Maybe you do them in the other Adobe one, the Adobe Illustrator, and then you bring them into After Effects, and then you grab like the layer and then you spin it around or do whatever. I don't really know. This isn't what we're going to be learning today. Having like an Easter egg here where if you hover, the mouse actually moves. Follows the user's mouse. That'd be fun, but no need to feature creep. We need to go to the next step, which is this one, where we load the animation. And we'll try to replace this, I suppose, the welcome. And I have it in a hero file. So now we have this hero image here, and it's like put animation here. And actually, so I can only assume that we can only do those things once we're in the browser. We cannot server render any of these things. So we're bringing in onMount from Svelte. And we're gonna say this, I suppose. We will also bring in Lottie. Will autocomplete get me there? Nope. So let's import Lottie from Lottie Web. I wonder if this has TypeScript types. Oof, huge. That's something to keep in mind as well. Red. But here we need to give it the element that we want. So I suppose we could just have another div here. And we will do it the Svelte way in a minute. But for now, let's have this div. It's gonna be empty and say the container. GitHub Copilot is trying to help. Not quite. Right, and here we want the, interesting. If, let's say, let's get out of there. Do nothing if you can't find the container. If you do, you want to load the animation, the render is gonna be this. Have it loop, have it autoplay. Here's a path, but the path is actually gonna be, so the static folder should resolve absolutely. And I don't think Svelte is doing any magic to like hash these or anything like that, which may be interesting to consider. But in any case, I wanted to go to the static folder, copy a relative path, and put it in here. I don't think we need the static. We could use the trailing slash. Why not? Easy peasy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Nice. So yeah, there may be bundle size concerns. I don't think it would make the website that much less interactive or fast to load. But once it's loaded, then you know you're good. You're treated with this playful cat animation. Wow, I could be stuck looking at this forever. So it would be interesting to have a look at the actual JSON. I guess anything that's supposed to output JSON, you can create an editor for. But would it be, and you really need an editor for something like this, because I imagine it's just all the instructions and paths starts from this position and then go there. This is a vector, this is a coordinate step from here to there. It's all quite much for me. My question would be, would I be able to pass like CSS variables here? Can I say, instead of using this color, would I be able to make it use CSS var, like primary or whatever else I'm talking there? Or would I be able to make this be current color, so it would respect, I guess, the text color that we'd have there? That'd be a cool idea. We do have the 070 A3B, so 070 A3B. Am I really finding no results? Search for it again. Is VS Code saying I won't actually search for this because this is too big? No results. So how does it figure out, how does it do the colors? That doesn't make sense. Surely there is something that is telling it what the color is. I wonder if it's like broken up into RGB. Yeah, look for 7. That's not gonna make me go far. RGB, B. I don't really know. So my idea was that we'd find, what would we find? This somewhere, like the color here, and then I'd switch it to like use var this color, as we do with CSS. Because if this gets translated to SVGs, because we've picked the SVG renderer here. Oh wow, it changes forever. Interesting. But in any case, this is an SVG. And since this is an SVG, then it must have attributes for like fill this with this, the stroke should be this color, and whatnot. So I was hoping that I'd be able to find this string somewhere, the color, and then switch it to current color or the CSS variable. CSS variables or custom properties are things that we set here in the project, and it's what allows us to do themes, for example. So it may be fun to make the yarn be a slightly different color according to whether you're on light mode or dark mode, although the way they've done it I do think this works well in both cases. So well done to whoever did this animation. This is awesome. Credit to the author. I'll definitely come back and put more likes and comments here. MV Safa, cheers for that. Cute avatar too. This looks awesome. Accessibility is something I wanted to talk about as well. Like, make sure these are accessible, but how do you give them titles? How do you give them colors? How do you give it a title saying cat playing with yarn if you need to? Search for RGB is a good question. I could shout in the chat. No, but I was thinking like search for blue. But that's not gonna work. And maybe it's HSL, maybe it's hue saturation lightness as well. So I'm not sure we'll get somewhere. 59 was like the number that was like 59. There is a chance that we'll find it in an array somewhere, and then we'll be able to do something. But there's too many 59s here to figure it out. I'm not gonna go through 161 ones. But yeah, I'll take that as homework. It says fill here. So that's on some path. But I'll set this to myself. Thanks, Matt, for that suggestion. There must be something telling it what color it is, surely. Just don't know exactly what. I edit the HTML of all of this. And then I search. No, I cannot. Anyway, homework, as I said, we'll figure it out eventually. A way to do this in a more svelte style, much like we've done when we were using Motion 1, where we wanted to track this element or that element or animate whichever element. Instead of using IDs, in case you want the animation to appear in multiple places, for example, so if we do it for the star animation, a way to do it more svelte-like is to not give this element an ID. So just put it in there, I guess, but bind it using svelte to an element. So you can we can say that let animation container be null, but then we can bind this to our animation container. So once the website renders, once this mounts, once this component mounts, then the animation container will be an HTML element. We can even say HTML element. And I think everyone will be happy. And instead of querying it here, we can say, if you don't have an animation container for whatever reason, this should never happen, return, but if not, pass it around here. That should work the same, but it allows us to not have to think about naming this something unique, to not pollute, to do not have like many IDs with the same name. You should always have unique IDs. And when we do the star animation, we'll also want to star on its specific star element, individual star element. Adrian also mentions there's a way to customize to animate on scroll. That's interesting because we did use Motion 1 to see when an element gets in view to load more stuff in the previous stream. And I was thinking we could use this. So when you actually get to the end of the page, then you can start the animation. So we can have a look at that. Scroll, screen, observer. I don't know which. We'll use this for the star animation for sure. Can make it go around as well. Freeze. some events. Some more settings. Loads DOM elements on needed progressive load or lazy load them. That's quite interesting. I don't know if that will also make it start when we're there. But maybe not. It may be important to say as well that there is a Svelte Lottie library, which seems to be from the same organization that is doing the Lottie files thing. So it looks legit. It doesn't have too many stars, but it looks legit. It gives you these controls as well, and I imagine more intuitive API there. So they may have like some helper methods, like only do this when it gets into view. But as always, when I first try out things, I want to see how it's actually done. And then if I'm going to use a library, I do check its popularity and how it's actually doing it. And if I seem to be agreeing, then I will use it myself. Yeah, we'll do an animation on screen and try to start it once we're there. But let's give the stars a go. Let's finally make these stars. Let's give them the fun they deserve. So we'll be back to results for cut here. But first, let's also get this star animation as well. And we can try to load it from this URL just to see if it works. And if not, we'll download again. So I think we have an idea card component, and we've done like this if-else condition. If you've started, then you actually have, well, if you don't, if you have not started an idea, so for this one, we just show the empty star that we have as an SVG. And we have the successful title to start this idea. But if you have started the idea, then we actually show both the empty star and the full star. And that's because I'm making the empty star animate pink once, which is an animation we've defined in our Tailwind config, which essentially makes it appear once until it disappears. It's still gonna be there, so we still have two elements there. We have the full star and the empty star that kind of grows and disappears, which is a bit of a hack, but it's fun and easy, I suppose. So let's see if we can get away from this and actually use the star animation from here. So let's try what we did before. On a mount, do some stuff. On mount is from Svelte. And Lottie, oh, now it knows. But interestingly, it uppercases it. Huh. Wonder why. Guess that's the default export, and they uppercase it. But the examples, they have it lowercase. Do they not? Yeah. So, sorry, I am gonna lowercase it for ease of use. And then we need a reference to the star. So this is the same thing where we can't, well, it'd be much trickier to give a unique ID somewhere here, maybe in the button. So we will not do that. And instead, will we put it inside the button? Like, I've never done this before. So we'll see how it goes. I've never had a Lottie animation SVG inside a button. I think it's gonna work just fine because we do have SVGs inside the buttons now, but who knows? So, yeah. So let's find this. Start button. So now it's bound and we have nothing here. And do we want to label this? No. Let's see if it starts. It's gonna be unstarring. And render nothing in it. Really flipped out with this one because I have a random error. Whoops. Any better now? Guess not. Sometimes I err so hard that I need a restart, and I'm hoping this is the case here. But I guess not. It's specifically with this component. But the error isn't too helpful. I wonder. So if I don't import the animation, is it still like flipping out? Oh, no, that should be fine. Right, so I can see the problem is that the helpful import of onMount was from something unexpected. Let's import it from Svelte and see if that does us any better. All right, so here we have like a tiny cute cat in with yarn animation, but we actually want to try to use this straight from that link, which I'll have to investigate later if it's like a faux pas or not. But in any case, you'd probably not want outside of your domain transitions. All right, so this looks cool. We will bring it in later. My little Pomodoro style timer has screamed at me to take a break. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. But yeah, this is looking quite nice. What we'll need to be doing next would be to actually appear as already starred. If it is starred, stay in the first frame where it hasn't been starred until you interact with it. If you interact with it, we want the animation to play just once. So how will we achieve that? Don't really know, but we'll figure it out. And yeah, that's another instance where maybe I would want to play with the colors to make them darker on light mode to have a bit more contrast, but on dark mode it looks great. All right, so back to the face cam. I should have like more goodies there. I used to have like the chat on the right, but I'll probably be building an app for that because I haven't been happy with all the element websites, the streaming elements websites so far. I have managed to have some music playing on the background, so hopefully you like that one. I'll keep adding more songs in there so you don't have to keep listening to the same ones. I can't actually listen to them as I am streaming, but I do listen to them as I'm working or researching very often, so it should be an alright selection. We'll see. Just background music, no words, because that makes it harder for me to like think, but better than just having silence from me or ors, that type of thing. It's also been an early day for me today, so the coffee is already gone after this. We'll definitely need a top up soon. The ice has melted cruelly, but I have enjoyed it. It's been nice. All right, let's go back to the recap screen. We've talked about Lottie. You saw the file size, so I would say don't go crazy with it. I imagine the JSON animations that we're bringing in are also quite hefty, but it is worth it to catch that flair. I'd say for marketing websites or for things that happen after a while. So if you have one of those nice animations after the fold, then you can still have your company's mission or whatever selling point to start with load fast, like what we're doing here. And then as they scroll down, then you have something that will make people think, oh, these are pros we're working with here. These are nice. And also, when it comes to animations like this, I guess the way we're gonna do it now is gonna load the animation from the start. It's maybe questionable, but if we were using just an SVG without loading the animation library yet, which I guess may be the case. I don't know. I'll have to benchmark it. My point is, if you can get away with loading all of the extra stuff after a user interaction, after a user has been on the website, after it's been interactable, then you can not worry that much with the load. If the page appears useful and fast to the user, then if you have to load more stuff on idle, and by the time they click the star button, everything's loaded, then you're good. But if they try to click the star button and you haven't loaded the animation, so you don't show the feedback and they have to wait a little bit, that's annoying. So that's the thing to watch out for. Wow. All right, so timer again. Time and time again. Let's see how far we'll get here. I will download this again. This star animation. Oh, there's a download here. Why did that not appear last time? What did I click? Who knows? Who knows? And I can reveal in Finder, static folder. This also looks awesome. So thanks Bhargav Savalia for this one. There are many cool ones here as well. So this one by Dmitro is one that we could like mix with the SVG we have of the empty star. So you can start with the empty star or the full star. Just load that SVG without loading the animation library and then bringing it in afterwards. But in any case, let's try to make it happen. So we don't want to autoplay, we don't want it to loop, and we do want to load the animation, so we don't want it to loop. I wonder if this has defaults somewhere. Too many TypeScript types? Who knows? Assets path name, I think that's just for us. Where is the path? Don't really know why there is no path here. I was also wondering, can I pass just the object? If I have the object here, can I import it and pass it along, or do I always need the relative path? I think for this you do need the relative path and you can't just pass in the animation itself. But who knows? We'll investigate. In any case, what happens if we don't autoplay or loop? both of these things keep happening. Are they the defaults? All right, let's see. Loop false. Oof, it looks like it's the classic case of defaults that are truthy, which I don't particularly like. But hey, I guess that may be what most people want. So this will stop it from looping, and this should stop it from playing. Great. And we'd want to play in response to, I guess, this. So when it's pending, we'll want it to play once to the end, depending on whether it starts or not. So we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I guess we can play it back as well. So you load the animation. Does that give you an object so you can find it? So it does look like this returns something. So let's call this star animation. I don't really know what it is, so I'm not gonna call it anything. We'll find out. So now we have a handle on the star animation, which I guess is an animation item. Can I actually type it like this? If I say number, will TypeScript be unhappy? Yeah. So animation item. All right. Hey, my editor actually imported with type a type. That's amazing. This is the first time this has happened to me. Empty star. Where do we have an empty star? Ah, right. So if we're not logged in, you don't have the save functionality for these things, for the ideas. So we just saw the empty star all the time. So interestingly, I open this on incognito where I'm not logged in. We still have the SVG stars, not the fancy stars here, but we'll see if we'll do something about that later. Right, so now the star animation is something. And my hope is that I can do something for it. Like GitHub Copilot claims that this works. So let's see. So if I click here, it works. It does that selection effect, which upsets me, but I don't really know. What other things can I say? Can I set direction to something? 1 or -1. Right. So if it starts now, no, if it starts now, I want star animation, or no, I always want to do that. So star animation, set direction, check whether it starts. If it starts, we want it to go back. If it's not start, we want to go forward. So now it goes like this, and now it goes back. Maybe we'd be jumping straight to that frame, but it's hard to say whether this is working or not, because this does not reflect reality. We want the animation to go specifically to a specific place, specifically to a place, to a frame, according to whether the thing has been started or not. So we load the animation, and then we want star animation, go to, and stop, what else do we have here? I want to go either to the first plate or the last. This was more helpful before. It has the total frames here. Cool. It has the first frame. Does it have the last frame? Isn't the first frame always 0? Is loaded is interesting as well. So blah blah blah. Right, so let's see. We will try it. Go to and stop. Let's go to like 20 or something. 30? 50? That didn't seem to work as I expected. Maybe because the animation is not loaded. Right, let's see if we have other parameters for this stuff. So we will go to the animation config. Ah, here's the path that I was looking for before. And it doesn't look like it can go to a specific place. So on load, what can we do on load? Is it an event? Load, not download, not this. If your animation contains repeaters, I guess if it's an asset, then it must be cloning it. Who knows? Load, load, load. This is an event. Great. And on complete, that's when that finishes, I guess. Data ready, add event listener, it says here. All right, so let's try to have an event listener in there and see what happens. So star animation, yeah. Add event listener, and Copilot I think is not helpful, but on data ready, then that's when I want to do. Well, yeah, maybe let's do that. Let's have it play. So it does play, but what I want is to go to and stop 30, which doesn't work. Am I just over-engineering this? Should I be looking at the instructions? It seems like the first frame is this, right? And the frame 50 is this, so even 49 should be fine. So yeah, what is in here? There is an SVG in here. Is it like different color? What are we missing? Go to and stop. Does it refer to not frames? Does it refer to segments? Ah, you need to pass in this. Oh, Johnny, you mug. You used to read the instructions. You used to read the manual, now you do not. So do we even need to do the listener? Probably not. Right, so I guess this was like time-based, and the animation is so small that making it time-based made it crash. I'm not sure. I will stop playing around with various seconds or milliseconds. Because what I want is to use this to go to specific frames, and I want to start at frame 0 if it's not start, and I want to start at to go to last frame, length, frame, total frames, yeah. So I want to go to the last frame. And I guess that'd be -1. So let's make it a bit more clear. Last frame is total frames -1. Because I imagine this is index 0, because the first frame is frame 0. Hopefully that's true. See what happens. Nothing happens. With just 0 it works, great. With 50 it works, no. With 40, yes. So how much is this? Here you go, console log. It's happened. -1? What? Last frame is -1, they say. I refuse to believe that. There is also get duration, I guess. So let's see, what is that? Total frames. Not in the doc, so maybe not supported. Star animation, get duration. How much is it? Not a number. Is it because it's not loaded? I guess so. So what were we doing before? I think this is correct, but we were doing something to only run this on the data complete case. So let's see. Was it data ready? Yeah. So maybe that will work. Yay. All right, so it looks like we can easily tell it to go to and stop the first frame because there will always be a first frame, but if it doesn't know what the last frame is, then or how many frames it got yet, if it's not loaded, you cannot go to the last frame. Kinda makes sense. Cool. So now that this reflects reality, whether I've started an idea or not, how do I handle the starring? Let's see the direction, this thing working. New. It doesn't. Oh well. Does it work for these guys? No. Oof, that's quite interesting. So we can see that the API does get the request, so we do get here, but it doesn't like playing anymore. Why not? So blip bloop, now start. interesting. Am I doing a mistake with the start? If it's start... Ah, yeah, it's the opposite, isn't it? Whoops. So this may be accidentally correct. If I just play again, what happens? This works. And this is just slow. So maybe we can find the frame where it's... there are two things. Sometimes you want immediate feedback to the user, something they didn't like. Oh, it's huge. I think it would be fine to just go to and stay there. Go to and play. So this should be quite fun. If it started already, it goes to 0 and plays, but because the direction is go back, then it just does nothing, so immediately it goes there, which may be fine. You get a nice playful one once you save. If you don't, then it's just the unhappy one, which may be what we want. Just immediately happens. Quite nice, quite playful. Looks alright on the light theme as well. I'd say just a bit more on the contrast, and I would be cooking with gas. And again, I will need to have a look and see if I can use CSS variables somewhere here, because that'd be fun. Have it be more branded to our own colors, not just random colors. Even though I think it's generally accepted that stars are yellow, like the sun. However, what was I talking about? I was saying that this, I guess, could be trimmed. Like, you could actually stop here. That's the last frame, right? If you really think about it. Like, all the other frames are just there for no reason. So we could say, if you want 1 star, it doesn't look like anything really changes from 21 to 20. So again, we can say, if you're now start, then you start from 0, but if not, you start from 20. And this would make it, maybe not. I was hoping that it would start from here, but I guess that's not the case. Let's have another look. But why? Is it duration again? Is it duration based? Yes, they got us again. Let's see. All right. So this will catch me every time. You need to specify that this is a frame as the second parameter, or else it's like duration. In seconds, who knows? But now we have this type of animation, and I saw something funky going on with the elements here, but maybe I was just seeing things, I'm not sure. But yeah, ideally we'd have like a different animation to go out, I suppose. But that's maybe good enough. I would say that even just going to immediately the outline state, I think that'd be fine. No problems there. What else would we like to see? As I was looking at this. Right, so we figured out that we only need 20 frames for this. How do we stop at a frame? How do we stop? Or how do we tell it to only load up to 20? It must be a parameter in load animation. I don't think we can help it. Maybe that's something in the editor that we could go and change. So how do we get there? Edit, layer colors, interactivity. What does that do? Ah, interactivity based on scrolling. Interesting. But it's another library, I guess. All right, we'll have a quick look at that. This has 50 frames. Can I do something to change the duration here? Can I make it be 20? Guess not. Duration here in seconds. Great. And frames per second 30. So how much would it be if it's if only 20 of them are usable? But I guess it's the same. It's just that we want our end frame to be 20, so I shouldn't be changing those settings here. Sadly, I think too much work. There must be something where you can set up the keyframes or something. But maybe if they are using keyframes, now that I think about it, maybe it's not that it's actually heavier. It's just it has a start state and the end state, and it's not like, even if it was a million seconds, it should be the same size. All right, that's enough justification for me to leave it as it is. So next up, let's have a look at our interactivity guide. That was interesting. So some live Googling and reading after this break, because this is hitting me. I was gonna use the InView one. So I guess it's a different library, and you could have a few options here. And it's quite neat in this side that they're loading the icon, the animation that I was looking at. So before we had this yarn one, that's now a different color. Or is it the same color? I'm not sure. I thought this was purple. But in any case, interactivity, click here. So that's super cool. They load the one that you're looking at to create this example page. They have it as a URL param here, and they load exactly the one you were looking at. It's pretty sweet. I like that. Segment looping. Like now we're getting into the the nitty-gritty. Animation on hover, often asked. So we could do something cool with that. I think on the side we do have like a Easter egg animation here if you hover this heart. Again, pinging again. So yeah, just a couple moments of face cam. Water. And the lucky last sip of coffee. But overall it looks like this is going to be a relatively short stream. Let me know what you'd like the next one to be. For the long form videos I am working on the playwright one, which we have done a stream for, but I think it's much easier to get people to care to set up their end-to-end tests, which I find has tons of value, especially given for SvelteKit, for example, there are breaking changes coming up, and people, if they don't have end-to-end tests, if you don't have enough testing, then you may be more reluctant to say, oh, I don't want to update this package. What if it breaks? But if you have at least some rudimentary like navigation, mock tests, then you may be more willing to take the plans and move on, which you should. It's not just about security, but everyone on these frameworks. On most libraries, I'd say people keep working on them for the better. Sometimes they do get abandoned, so they stop working on it. But if they are working on the library, they're trying to make it better. React Router could be another example that has changed like so much over the years, but it's because they've learned more, they've put it out in the real world, people were using it, other people that weren't the people behind creating it, so more use cases for them, and they kept evolving the whole thing. And if you had a smoke test of can I route to every page, then you'd be more willing to change React Router from version to version, because sometimes the changes were substantial. If you didn't, then you wouldn't want to do a 10,000 PR, even if it's like code generated. Anyway, like I'm rambling too much on this. I was just saying what we may be covering next, what I'm covering with the video. Maybe not animations for the next one. We've done 3 in a row and I do love them, but there was another library that I jotted down from the comment that I may have a look and see what happens. And of course, Svelte's own animations, the way to do animations with the Svelte libraries, which are the most minimal way to do it for sure, because you're loading most of the Svelte stuff anyway. So yeah, animations, love them. Want to live with them, so what can you do? But maybe something else for next time. I was thinking if I had the time, I could even do some Code Wars type of challenges, so you can see me really struggle trying to do all of the pub trivia things. I know that lots of people are kind of wary of interviewing because they're afraid there will be like a coding challenge. And to me, I'd say bring it. No, I don't mean that. If there is a company that is doing those pub trivia challenges and you get the red no go, this is it, you didn't do well enough, then maybe you didn't want to work for them anyway. I don't think there is much value in doing those pub trivia type of exercises. So if you don't get the job offer because you did badly on them, then maybe you dodged the bullet. Unfortunately, I think I'm quite good at the engineering challenges, but if I make a dedicated stream on them, we'll see what happens. Maybe I'm not. Maybe if there is a reduce, I will pull the reduce, but we'll see. I do get stuck on them sometimes. In any case, what I'm trying to say is that it doesn't mean I'm great to work with or I'm bad to work with. Maybe it means I'm a cocky bastard if I say that I'm good at the challenges. But yeah, in any case, don't stress them too much. Would it be fun to see me do some? You let me know. What would you like to see covered next? You let me know as well. I do read on the comments, so hit me with your wishes. In the meantime, for today, we'll keep going with the Lottie stuff and try to have another look at having an animation play, I guess, once we get there. And so we did this, animation on demand on click. So I guess we're getting on the bonus one, only start the animation as you're there. And I will have to read this a bit more. So it does look like we're bringing in another animation thingy. But maybe we won't do that. So it's bringing in Lottie interactivity, which you can find like this. How do you get the ID? I guess it's doing query selector at this point. Type 6. This has quite a lot of settings. But just to reinforce our learnings from the previous episode, I am going to use the InView library that we used last time. So for the infinite loading. So let's try to do that, and let's try to find animation to bring in. Just the neon cat is too cool to not use. So let's use that one. Where would we put it? Here? I guess all the classes go here. That still should look fine. He says, and he's totally wrong. Ah, of course. I didn't actually nest anything within anything. I don't know why I did it this way and not just rename the footer and then create the footer again, but hey. So my idea is put animation here again. Neon cut me. And we'll do the same thing as we did in the hero component here. So let's copy everything, keep a watch out to bring in the on mount from the right library. Not that one. That one. So we've put it in the right place. Should have copied these two. I also realized now that I was on screencast mode, which may help with like navigation when I put up the command palette. Apologies for that. I still don't know if overall it's useful or not. Just let me know if you have a preference. So different animation for this one. It's this one. The animation container is gonna be this, and we bind this once again. And do we get a neon cat? We do. Maybe it's too big. So you can give it a width. Pretty cool. Decent. And of course, I like flexing everything. This does look like a loading animation. So maybe it's what I should be using if we're fetching more ideas at some point. But what we're doing now, what we're talking about is this rendered in the document already? The answer is probably going to be yes. So I'll be trying to find the footer. Header is here, great. Main is here, footer is here. It does have this with content, and I just want to see. It's not called lazy loading, is it? Progressive load. So how fast is this? Should we be using progressive load? The other one? Maybe not. So let's say progressive load true. Nope. Because it is in render settings. So the question is, now if I look at the footer, does it have stuff in the SVG? It does. But I don't see that stuff changing. So let's see if that happens eventually. I wouldn't really say that it does happen. So I'm not sure if it just delegates, like when is it needed? It says when needed. What does that mean? I don't know. However, just to show what's happening here, let's follow that example with the interactivity one. I changed my mind. I'm not going to use the in view just because of the animation that I chose. Huh. Cool. And I'm gonna do the hover one. So let's see. There's animation on hover example here. Does it do just a few when you hover? Oh, nice. So you need to hover 5 times before you get to the confetti. Where is the confetti? Reload. Right, so that's a different asset. This is the confetti asset, yes. But hey, let's see. Do they have like a more simpler example? I think this is the one we wanted. I guess these coordinates are respective to the actual thing. Player, it's the 7 Lottie. All right, so let's get going with it. Let's install this. Once again, we'll see how big it is and bulk the size. I'm sure. And then the hover example. Don't need to specify the frames, maybe just loop. Or do we have to say to stop it? And not the smoothest thing ever, but we'll figure it out. So we want Lottie interactivity . We want this thing. Interesting. No TypeScript types for this. Oh no. How do you do namespaced ones? So there are the community at types, where you can find types if the library itself doesn't expose it. But so we're talking about the definitely typed name spaced. That's not the one we want. Where is the definitely type? Repo. What do they do? Like, I remember no libraries that are spaced in an organization. Is it like __? Maybe is it at bubble core? Yes. All right. So maybe it's Lottie files __. Doesn't exist, which may have been a thing. Oh well. Oh, my editor knew all along what I should be doing, which I think is the one I ended up doing by accident. But yeah, nobody's there. Let's have a look at these packets. It does have a lot of downloads. Does it say anything about TypeScript? No. Published month ago. Looks fine. So we'll just use it blind, I guess. No TypeScript safety. But we probably want to do the same thing because it said something about the animation be loaded and that sort of thing. So let's say let animation item, animation is now this, and then animation is this. Unfortunately, I did want to do like cool stuff with Lottie interactivity, but I don't know how we would do them. Like, can I pass it the animation itself? I should be able to do it. Can I pass it the player or the animation or something? Don't really know. Do we get a container for this? Well, we do. Does these get given an ID? It looks like the answer is no. Yeah, without TypeScript, I'd say we're not gonna do it. But yeah, I'm gonna forget this ever happened. But what we may want to do is look for an on hover in the SVG, something like that. We usually start on a high in these videos and then end in something where I stumble, which may be kind of fun. ID. Container. Layer. There is no hover here, is there? Yeah, there is not. So I don't want to do that, but I do want to do something when it's data ready, I guess. What does the animation item have even? It has whether it's loaded, it has various things. Animation ID, so that's something that we could use with Lottie interactivity if we did have the willingness to use that library. So I'm thinking that, for example, We could say animation container, query selector, SVG. Is there a non-hover here? Nope. All right, so in my dreams, when I hover, it will stop the Nyan Cat. But I'm afraid it's not the case. Is this a relevant listener? Let's see, when listener hover. No. Any other results? Also no. So mouse over. Let's see now. Okay. So does it stop at a random place? No, it stops exactly when I hover it. And is it mouse out? Mouse enter and mouse leave should also work. You can play again. Yeah, it doesn't stop in place, does it? Is it freeze? Guess not. I think there was something about freezing. It's a stall in essence. Stop. Pause. Ah. Alright, so now it actually stops. So yeah, that's kind of cool, like a way to add interactivity to your animation. I don't know why you'd do that. Maybe the opposite would have been more fun, where it doesn't actually play. And then you play it and pause it only for when you're hovering. Yeah, this is one of the things that I don't think I will keep for the deployed side. I may try to think of an example where this would be a bit more helpful. So maybe this heart, maybe I can find a nicer heart animation and have it work like that. Even though this is an example of how to do a custom animation in Tailwind, that's by the by. Maybe this is the way to go with heavier animations for everything. But to recap, today we did all of this with a bonus of doing something on demand. There was that library that was all about doing fun stuff on scroll and when it's in view and all of those things, which look amazing, but it didn't have TypeScript types when I tried to use it. I don't know, Adrian, if that's the one you've used in the past or not, but thanks for the suggestion for this. Thanks to Brian for the suggestion to do the episode, the stream today, focused on Lottie. This has been fun. The main thing we did is this star animation now looks super cool. Some homework for me would be, how do I make these stars or these animations really take the current color, so I can use CSS variables on this. So according to your theme, for example, you could have slightly different colors, which does happen for the live website. So have a look at the live website and check out the code. The repo is public, so you can see how it is. This is slightly different colors according to what the theme is. But we may be upgrading to this one. Maybe I'll be keeping this. I'm not sure. I'll think about it. But I'm definitely going to be keeping the star animation finally. It's an animation that I'm finally happy with. So we'll keep it around. We've done this on hover in response. I don't know if it's the way to do it, but how we did it is that we added event listeners. So kind of old school JavaScript, manually adding the event listeners after finding the elements there. On mouse center, we play the animation. On mouse leave, we pause it again, and we start on post. So again, that's about it. And yeah, Adrian confirms that was Lottie interactivity that you were using in the past. It looks cool. I love the docs, as I said before. They have all of the examples based on the animation that you've chosen. So it's easy to visualize how it would work on your website. I just wish they were publishing the TypeScript types. So because for many of these things, even if they have like, this is exactly what you need to paste, I like exploring. I like pasting the dot, typing the dot in my editor, then seeing what's actually available. There is create, but there is something else. That is some way that I like getting creative with libraries. Right, so just a bit of FaceTime. Maybe a final sip of only water. I will be making more coffee, so don't worry about me. And with that, I will thank you all for joining. Still, like in the 11th hour, if you have questions, let me know in the chat. But overall, on any video, if you add a comment and YouTube doesn't think it's spam, I will see it and I will reply it. I will jot it down in my list of ideas if it has a subject that you'd like me to cover. Lots of exciting things coming up on the web space, which I think has been the case for the past 15 years. But I do think that we are in a very nice place nowadays, a very pleasant space to work in. Well, in 15 years ago, it was more of a more cowboy, like Tarzan style development was needed for some web stuff. Well, now things are a bit more organized. There is more resource to help you, and thus it's more exciting to try to figure out stuff. Let me know what you'd like to figure out together. Let me know what you'd like me to do videos about. Next one is gonna be Playwright. And that's about it from me. I think we will call it a stream. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for keeping me company on this. And check out the code. This will make it live. Have a lovely day. Have a lovely weekend. And see you next week as well.